Okay, so this tutorial is going to go through and show you guys how to model a screw and a bolt assembly and get that ready for 3D printing. And so what we're going to do, I've already gone through and sort of rigged this up and tested my process. This is actually a little bit more cumbersome than I thought it was going to be, just because of the way the tools were behaving. And I've got a relatively specific process at this point to get us there. So the first thing we're going to start out is that we're going to do a cylinder and a helix. And so if we come over here, the tools that you can find these, the first, if you expand out the curve tool and then right click on the helix, you can draw a vertical helix. And then if you want to draw a cylinder, if you just come over here, you can draw a cylinder. Okay, and so I use the grid snapping to draw the cylinder and the helix at the same diameter, so those two things can be overlaid on top of each other. So for the first part, developing the screw is actually easy because you can have an infinite number of overlapping geometries. It makes it really simple. So what we're going to do for this is we'll go ahead and pipe this, and we'll set the pipe radius is 0.07, and we'll just cycle through that. And so to develop this, we now have a threaded screw with a soft edge, and the only part that doesn't really fit is this little guy down here at the bottom. And I'm actually going to just move this down half the diameter, so 0.035, and I'm going to split that out. Scale 1D, I didn't make that big enough. Alright, and so you can see how that intersects in this guy. So then we'll take this and split it with this. Delete out the extra section, we don't need that anymore, and we can use the cap tool to close that back up because it was a planar cut. So you can see that this is now a nice geometry, and if we just go into our shaded view here, you can see we have the makings of a screw. Okay, and so you guys can trim out the length of your threading as you need. The next part, this is where things got a little bit complicated, was you have to take your helix and to develop the components so you actually can take and generate a closed geometry. That was actually pretty cumbersome. So what I discovered, the method for modeling this is if we take this and we just go straight up from the end point of the helix, hold shift to go into ortho, we're going to take this and split it with that curve. And we have one cycle of that guy. So what we'll then do is we're going to take that and copy that down. And now you need to draw your profile. And so what I've done here is I took this profile and drew it over here. And so this is exactly the distance from one part of my helix to the other. And so what I'll do is I'll just copy that over here. And then I'm going to look at this in section as well so that you guys can see how this will work as well. So I tried to keep this as simple as I possibly could. And I'll turn off my grid snapping for a moment here. So this opening is slightly larger than the threading in all directions, so it might be a little bit loose. This accounts for some of the tolerances though in the 3D printing, so it'll be a little bit bigger. The idea here being that you could, if this was too thick, you could slightly sand it down, and then your threading would probably fit okay in there. Alright, and so what we'll do then is we're going to end up using the sweep 2 rails. And I'm just going to show you what will happen if you do sweep 1 rail, because you might say, oh, we only need that 1 rail. So if we do sweep 1, select the rail, select the cross section, it's going to, you'll see here we get a distortion here, and that gets worse as we would move up, so that's obviously not ideal. So we need to maintain this on a set track. And so we'll take this track and copy this up, and then we'll do a sweep 2 rail. And then we'll have 2 rails, and we can have a cross section, and it'll keep that on a path. Okay, and so now we have 1 revolution for our threading, and then we can come over here, and if we use the copy tool, just copy up, 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 and we can do this. Nope. And it looks like I did a bad job of copying that second guy up there, so copy there for end to end. So these two things should be eventually able to be joined. So we'll try that again. this and this. Okay. Okay, copy again. Okay, so now we have a nice seam, and if we hold shift and type join, and then add that polysurface to our edge analysis tool, which is over here. So show edges, and show the naked edges. We get, as you can see them painted in orange here, no, only naked edges where we actually have naked edges, which is exactly what we want. So if we come then, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy this up one more time, and then we can build the hull here. Actually, we should be alright. Okay, so we type join, and again we have a good clean model here. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw another, we'll just draw another plane here. And I drew that in the wrong spot, but that's okay. So we'll take that and then zoom in, move this up, take this and split it. Ooh. That's not what I wanted to do. Take this and split it with this. And we should have a nice bottom section now. And we can take this and split it with this. We should be able to delete out that center piece. Alright, and so now we have the makings of a lip that can receive our threading. You can see that coming in here. And then we can go through and let's go ahead and just draw another circle here that we can then extrude and turn on our grid snap so we can get back on the center of this. Extrude that up. And I'm going to go ahead and just have that sitting up here. So I'm going to take this and split it with our cylinder. Delete that. Alright, so then I'm going to take this and then move it up. So now we'll take this and split it with our cylinder as well. Alright, and then I have like an extra step in here, but that's okay. You guys can ignore the parts that you don't want to take. And we can take these three guys and join them together. So now we can, and then we should just be able to go cap. And it looks like we got a little bit of an issue right in here. And what we'll do to solve that is, did this not join with this? Oh, it did. No. So I'm just going crazy here. And we'll join these together. So now we should be able to look at this, and it looks like we have one problem area for some reason. But what we'll do is we'll fix that with the patch tool here in a second. So this is modeled correctly. We just have that one little hole right there. And so I'm going to go ahead and mesh this. So select the mesh, and if we select this, it is now one closed mesh. So just because we had that little spot in the vertex there, didn't mean that it was actually bad. Okay, and so what we can do then is if we go into our shaded view, we can look in here and we can see that we actually have something you could screw up into. And then you guys can also see that we, well, hopefully here, let's take this guy and rotate it around. And have that rest on our turn this off. So we now have, you can see this track moving up and through. So we should be able to look at this in a ghosted view and see that just wrapping up and coiling around. Alright, and that is our nut and screw. Okay, and so that should get you the technique that you guys are going to need to model those threads. Alright.